So I've come into possession of 4 old air cylinders. These were dug out of the ground. This one had a sticker on it saying helium on the side, so at least I kind of have some clue as to what this used to hold. So, you know, the guy who gave them to me didn't know quite what to do with them. You know, you could scrap them. You know, there's a little bit of issue with scrapping parts, so he just wanted to get rid of them. He didn't really care. You know, wasn't really looking and trying to make any money off of it. So I picked them up and thought maybe I'll do a little project with them. I've seemed to come across a few cylinders now in the last few weeks or so. And I thought maybe I'd do a similar project. So this one, I'm turning into a wind chime. I was thinking, well, it might be fun to do that with something gigantic like this. I don't know how feasible it's going to be, but you know, it might be something fun to try. This one's definitely older. I think it's from 1950. So we're gonna look at these dates here a little closer in a sec. And then I think what I'll do is I'll use my plasma cutter. I have an Amico Cut 50 plasma cutter. I'm gonna cut it somewhere down there. I don't know, maybe half, maybe a little less, and see how well it does. I'm not going to use some of the setups I've seen on other YouTube channels as far as like making a roller table and all that stuff. I'm just going to hand cut it. But one thing to be cautious about with cylinders, it's amazing how much power these things can have. This one doesn't have a valve at all. Like I can look into the cylinder to some degree. I mean, it's black, but you know, so I can't really see what's in there, but I know that there's no compressed gas. The other 3 cylinders are not quite the same story. One of them still has the valve on top of it, though I believe it's empty because you can open up the valve. One of them, the valve's broken off, so I'm assuming that it's empty. I can't quite see into the cylinder or see that the hole goes all the way into the cylinder, so I'm going to be a little more cautious with that. And one of them still has the valve and the cap still on it, so that one's the most dangerous of the 4 that I have right now. I'm not going to cut into them until I'm 100% certain that there have no compressed gas in here. The last thing you want to do is try to, even drilling into it is dangerous, because once you pierce that cylinder with that, all of a sudden 3,000 psi spraying up, I mean, that's a lot of power. I mean, the cylinder will start flying probably. So be extremely cautious with these. Especially if you think that they've had something in them like acetylene previously. Start plasma cutting into that thing, there's a little bit of acetylene left over, you're going to have a bad day. You know, so just take nothing but caution with them. You know, probably on the acetylene ones I wouldn't even touch them myself, maybe just give them to somebody else who can dispose of them properly. So yeah, let's cut it open and see what's inside. So this is 1950 right here. So who knows what kind of paint's on this thing. Let's see, let's circulate this thing around. Might be hard to read. This is 89 right there. Let's see. This one's one of the dimmer ones. And get over here and get seeing some dates. So here's 66, 71, 76. There's 61. Okay, 61, 66, 71, 76. I don't know what these the pluses mean on the side here. It might be a good sign. Here we go. Here's 91. This one has a plus and a something else. Here's 99 with a plus and a star, and then that's the last date I saw on this particular cylinder right here. So this thing has been around. I guess talking to the old guy that gave them to me, you know, there's always a rumor that somehow the government is able to track these things. There's no way that the government knows where this thing is. There's no way they can track it unless you're sitting there logging it somehow. But I'm curious to see what it looks like on the inside, so I want to give it. I'm kind of anxious. I'm going to try using my plasma cutter to cut it open here. We'll see what happens. So I marked this line all around the circumference of the the bottle. And basically what I did is that I measured from the ground up to 14 inches, and I marked that like every, I don't know, a few inches around the bottle, and then I took a piece of tape and just basically connected the dots, and then I traced the bottom of the tape with this line, and then what I'm going to try to do is then follow this with the plasma cutter and cut it open. We'll see how well I can do it. But one thing I am not sure how I'm going to do yet is I have to ground the plasma cutter somewhere on the bottle, and I might have to do it somewhere at that end. You know, maybe one option is I actually grind something loose here and weld on something that I can grab with with the ground. Maybe I'll do that. Just something clip onto here. So I think maybe I'm able to grab on the end there with the ground clamp. So I'm just going to be able to reach inside the tube and just grab the lip with the ground. I'm just going to grind some of that clear so it has a little bit better contact, and away we go. Curious to see what the inside of a cylinder looks like. It's a little bit of a letdown, kind of plain looking. The wall thickness is, it's a fairly thick walls here, so it's definitely strong. This piece right here is quite heavy. I don't know how much it weighs, but 30 pounds maybe? I don't know. The other part of the cylinder, I was able to balance it on its top. It's kind of the same. So there's some rust. There's a little bit of residual water in there when I cut it open. I think a lot of this stuff is slag from the plasma cutting. Plasma cutting did pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. It went very smoothly. I ended up using a spacer to help make sure that the tip stayed off the edge. I found that if I don't, it gets stuck onto the side, or or whatever I'm cutting, because it's just creating so much heat. It's going into the base material, and it melts the tip. So I found these on Amazon for pretty cheap. There's a link down in the description. And this is what I mean by a spacer. So basically, this just sits on the edge here. And I was using it while I was cutting this, just to help keep the tip, from touching the tank as I was cutting. Alright, so that's what the cylinder looks like cut in half. Still got to decide what I want to do with it. If you have any ideas, leave them in the comment section below. Yeah, hopefully, I just have wind chimes and stuff on my mind right now. But, so, seems like everything I want to do with them is like a wind chime or a bell or a gong or something. So I think there's probably some other options out there. Yeah, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more about this, please subscribe. I have some links down in the description for some of the Amico stuff and some other things. If you want to check them out, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, if you have some ideas, please leave them in the comments. If you have any constructive criticism or questions, please leave them in the comments as well. I think this might be a little heavy for a wind chime. I'm thinking this thing weighs probably 60, 70 pounds or something like that. I have no idea. It's heavy. And you know, the bottom weighs, you know, another 20 or 30. So we'll have to see what I come up with here. So thank you for watching, and thank you for the support. I appreciate it.